Hello and welcome to the Holiday Project. It's about keeping a chronically ambitious child busy in the holidays. So I've got 5 categories of things that I would like to do, and under those 5 categories I've got a few goals for myself. To run through quickly, we've got learn, create, grind, rest, and go. Next we have rest. Oh, I'm so excited to share rest with you guys because your girl took it seriously. I'm so proud of myself. So the rest category in general is about romanticizing rest. It's about taking it and being intentional with it. Instead of, I don't know, I feel like there are so many times when I seek rest in ways that aren't actually restful like I'd wanted them to be. Like, I don't know, scrolling on shorts. YouTube shorts or Instagram shorts or TikTok. I guess there's a time and place for it, but on a 4-week holiday, maybe not. So I didn't end up doing any old movies, which I am kind of sad about, but honestly, I couldn't find them. Maybe that's just an excuse. I don't know, let me know some like old movies, because I'm keen to watch them, but I did watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That was a good movie. That cliffhanger though, oh, I can't. So I wrote down a few TV shows that I watched. I watched The Rookie. At first I was really nervous that it would be too much for me, but then it actually became really interesting, talking about maybe the philosophy of police officers and how their ethics are just slightly different to the rest of humanity's as they approach justice. I thought that was a really interesting thing to look into. It got me really interested into the justice system under God, you know? Not to bring out a whole nother topic, but, you know, we don't have the right to enact justice like God, but, you know, Jesus still believed in the human justice system, even though it's different from God's. So it was kind of cool to think about that during watching The Rookie. There were definitely some, like, intense scenes that felt a little bit more intense than they needed to be. I'm someone who prefers to like watch something for what it can give me, for what it makes me think about. I'm not someone who watches it if they've got violence for the sake of violence, like that's not the vibe. But you'll notice I will watch more intense things if it has an interesting conversation with it. So it's very give and take, I know. But normally I refer to myself as quite sensitive, and I don't normally watch things too crazy. Oh, yes, I watched F1 Academy. That was really fun. It was definitely teenagers, but, like, it was really fun to see the ins and outs of the F1 in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to see from the boys' perspective. It was really interesting to see how the different people got into F1 and how they were staying there, but also how they were training. Like, there was a lot of aspects going on. I really respected a lot of them. I thought they were so cool. Definitely a scary sport to be in, for sure. What did I say? I said, this was emotional, to say the least. Oh, I'm super pumped that these women are driven to join the men in the big leagues, Formula 1. Hey, it's so cool to see women trying to, like, be up with the men. And I know that women will never be as strong as men or anything like that. But it's still cool to see women saying, we can do this too. We can. And as they should. Also, I had been watching The Rookie a little bit before the holidays, so I didn't watch 6 seasons in the holidays. I probably watched like 1 season. I was towards the end. But it was enough that I wrote it down. Just to clear the air, I do watch more TV than the average human because my illness makes me need rest a lot. But I still try to have limits and try to explore different ways to rest, as you'll see in a second. Not a second. A few minutes. Anyway, I'm really excited about this next TV show, Little Lunch. This show has no right to be so pooping satirical. Like, it's little kids. It's hilarious. I love it. And Rory, he understands. The poor kid. But, like, little ADHD Jasmine just was like, I get it. And obviously not the same way, but like, he's so funny. I wish I collected the quotes from this series because the quotes are hilarious. Like, I think there was one point when he said that his mum told him to stop biting like a dog. And he's like, but I am a dog, mum, or something like that, you know. And then she's obviously like, no, you're not a dog. And then Rory's like, no, look at the facts. I like to bite. I like to eat food with my mouth, not my hands. And I like barking. She's not paying attention. That was beautiful. I don't need anything more. That's comedy gold right there. So that was beautiful. I definitely watched some movies. I watched Coco again. That movie, I don't know why it has such a warm place in my heart. Just the power of music, like that end scene. Next we have reading. So I read a few books, which is good. Not as many non-fiction books as I was hoping, but like, it's the holidays. I can chill. It's okay. But I did read a few non-fictions. Like, not finished, but I started them. I know, leave me alone. Like, come on. Books. Okay, let's get into it. First fiction book I read was I can't remember if I was still reading Whisper when school holidays started, but it might have been Weapon. I'm going to say I read Weapon. So this is 2 books in one. This was really fun. Definitely got a bit slow towards the end. The ending was really confusing because, like, we were like 10, maybe 5 chapters out from the ending, and there were so many things still unknown. That drove me mad. And it had a sweet ending, like, it was beautiful. It made me love it a little bit. But, like, that ending was drawn out. Like, bro, I needed information 10 chapters ago. But Lynette Noni is one of my favourite authors ever. So, that's okay. I'll allow it. Like, her other works are the best thing ever. The next book we have is The Sacred Slow. I haven't really read much of it. The thing is, this book is so interesting to start with. But it kind of makes you want to create this intricate plan thingy. You're supposed to write out this little... Let's pull out the thingy. The card. You're supposed to create this life scroll. And at first I was like reading the chapters like, oh, I'll be alright. But it kind of is set up to, like, you have to make the life scroll for it to really punch the way you want it to. And as much as I had a lot of time this holidays, I felt like I really needed space for this book. And so I kind of had to halt it, and I was like, maybe I should wait until I have some dedicated space to actually write out what it wants me to write out. But the message is quite beautiful. It talks about fast faith, which I think is really interesting and a conversation that might need to be talked about a bit more, because we are talking a lot about hustle culture lately, but it's interesting to see how that might bleed into faith, Christianity, seeking God, our relationship with God, all of these things. I think it brought up some really intricate topics, some very important things, like how we expect fast spiritual growth or change. And I think those are some really important topics, so I am keen to read this. Just need some time and space, if you know what I mean. But I really want to learn about this topic. I think it's going to be really interesting. So, The Shack. Have you heard of it before? It's pretty renowned in the Christian community. Now, premise... Actually, I didn't even read the back. I'm actually so proud of myself for that, because I think you shouldn't read the back. Well, unless it could be traumatizing. So, this book was like the most poetic thing ever. The writing was encapsulating. I have never felt a book pull me into a real world so intensely. I felt like I was walking on gravel in this, you know what I mean? But it started getting a little funny. And then when it started getting funny, it kind of was like a domino effect on a hill, and it gained speed, and I was like, whoa. I wasn't expecting that. It just had some conflicting ideas. It had some red flags that were like, whoa, what do I believe? Am I okay with this? So I've continued on slowly taking a massive grain of salt with this book. If you know, you know. I would love to hear your opinions on it. I think some people don't have a problem with it. I don't feel qualified to say if I have a problem with it or not. I won't spoil it. This thing had some stunning quotes. It was heartbreaking, but that turn has left me a little bit confused. Honestly, this book went so fast. I got like halfway through it, and then when I hit the bit that was kind of controversial, it slowed down so much for me. I was just like, what is this? Because, like, we look to the Bible, right? We hold everything to the Bible. But if this thing is having a character that is claiming to be God, or multiple characters, blah, blah, and they're talking, you know, you have to tread carefully. Like, so carefully. And, that's what I'm doing too. So it definitely slowed down for me. I feel like my guard has been raised 10 times. My spiritual guard, if you will. The mental barriers have flown up. So I'd have to talk to someone on it. Hey guys, this is Future Jasmine, and major spoiler coming in. I'm about to talk about my thoughts on The Shack. I thought it was important because I really did just feel really tripped up about what happened in here, and I really needed to talk to someone, and Future Jasmine has talked to quite a few people about what happened in this book and where I hold it. Now, this is in no way hate to this book. I think it's supposed to be a real story, and I definitely don't want to be combating that. For all I know, could be real, but the problem I had with this book, major spoiler, is that God was represented as a woman. And at first I was really confused. I didn't really know how I felt about it. I didn't have any thoughts. I just knew that something felt really off. And after talking to some people, I've kind of realized why that is. And so I asked my dad, for example, I asked him, is there something wrong about God being represented as a girl? And he said yes. And that is because God chose to represent Jesus, his son, as a male. Even as Jesus came down as a man to earth to die for our sins, he chose to represent himself as a man. And I think that's really important that he made that choice. I'm not about to say it has anything to do with being a man or woman, maybe it does, but the point is that's how he chose to represent himself, and we shouldn't be messing with that, pretty much. So I did find that God being represented as, well, there were God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. It represented those three. 2 out of 3 were women and 1 was a male. It's a beautiful story. Yeah, so I think tread carefully. I'm not about to say this is bad or you shouldn't read it. I personally think I will finish it, just with a heavy grain of salt. But yeah, those were my thoughts, and that's what I kind of gathered about this topic, and that's what I was struggling with. But I think this guy's story is really cool, and the fact that he wants to pursue God is so cool and exciting, and God being represented as women, as much as I don't think that's okay, him pursuing God in the end is what really matters. So take what you will. But yeah, let me know your opinions on this. Guys, you are not ready. Yes. Yes? Are you nodding? Yes. You better be. Anyway, this is my favorite series ever, and I'm reading it this holidays. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. So I own 3 of them. One of these actually is from the library. The second book. You know how painful it is to not have the second book? So I'm actually currently reading Dracora at the moment, but it's flying past. Let's be real. But I just wanted to say, like, this series is literally my favorite series ever. It's perfection to me. It's everything I could ever want in a book. I'm talking found family. I'm talking clumsy main character. I'm talking dragons. I'm talking not superpowers, but like abilities. I'm talking an academy. Yeah, no, it's literally perfection. The only thing is that the first book, it's so good, but it can be a little slow for people. And I think reading it the second time round, it felt a little primary. which is a little funny to say. It almost made me consider not rereading it to, when you reread your favourite series ever from when you were younger. If it's not having the same vibe, you kind of sometimes stop reading it because you don't want to ruin it for yourself or for your younger self. But I decided to push through because I remember it being the best thing ever. And then I read this one and it was. So you have to have a bit of patience with this book. It's definitely world building. It's definitely understanding all the different characters. I love everyone in these books though. And I'm so glad I got the collector's edition. It was at my local Dimmicks? No, QBD. Yeah, I jumped on that. Like, I don't normally get collector's editions, but like I didn't have the first book, and so I needed to get it. Yeah, no, just even the introduction can be a little slow. The premise feels cringy, but it's like, you just don't know how big this world gets. You can see I'm starting to get a bit emotional here, so I'm gonna take a step back. But this is Lynette Noni. Favorite author. Yeah, so just keep that in mind if you try it. Definitely push through because it gets better. One of those series that just gets better with each book. Really does. And now Raelia. I read this book in like 3 days, which for someone like me is very fast. Because I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I can't really read a book for a whole day in a row. I have to walk away. This book felt like home. Honestly, I love the characters. I love the plot. I love Alex. She's the main character. She would be such a good friend if she was real. Like, we would be so close. It'd be great. If I could go into a book, it would be this one. I would go to the academy. I don't know what power I'd have. That's actually an interesting conversation. Comment what power you think you'd have if you were in a fantasy land. But I won't spoil it, but just like, it's really fun. So many books disappoint me these days, so many fictional books. Especially getting older and just wanting more complicated plot lines. Sometimes like smut or even lust just can ruin a series. Like, no. It's immediately book closed. No thank you. And this series is so wholesome. The friendship is wholesome. The soon-to-be... Nah, I can't say that yet. The future love interest and all that is wholesome. Like, this is the kind of series where everyone is married by the end. Couldn't ask for more, in my opinion. Well, not everyone, but like almost. You have to find out. And Dracora, I almost don't want to open it because I just want to be reading this book. You know what I mean? It's definitely like the emotions are picking up. It's starting to hurt a little bit. And that's what we expect from a series. But like, am I emotionally prepared for this? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just getting into that one. We're not too far into it yet, but I have a feeling it'll be over soon. Although I am getting back into school next week, so reading will probably slow down again. Because before these holidays, I had only read 1 book. Oh wait, no, that's not true. 3 books in the entire 6 months of this current year. Which is perfectly fine. But I love reading. I read probably like 50 books last year. I was at home a lot. But again, CFS can't really read 24/7. This book, A Fresh Start. This book is something that I have heard people give to other people. As an evangelism thing? No. To like help people understand who God is. To read the back is to say something is terribly wrong with our world. With our relationships, with us, we all sense this at different times. But is there anything that can be done about it? With all the honesty and humour for which he is famous, John Chapman tells us in A Fresh Start that God has done something about it. We read about just what God has done for us through his son Jesus, how we can know it is true, what the alternatives are, and what we should do about it. So it is like basic gospel, but I wanted to read it before I ever gave it to a friend. I wanted to make sure that I agreed with it. I also just wanted to make sure if they ever thought, like, had any comments on it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know that part. And it's taking me a while. I'm getting there slowly. I bring this book to TAFE to read on the bus, just in between. Obviously it's taking me a while, but that's because I'm trying to pay attention. Christian books I get through a bit slower because I am trying to pay close attention, where I otherwise let myself zone out, unfortunately. It's the realities of having ADHD. As you can tell, I love reading. I'm not really sure entirely how much I'm expanding my YouTube channel at the moment, niche-wise, but I do love reading, so I might maybe share more about that if you guys are interested. But, let me know what you're reading, what you like, and, what your opinions are about modern books, because being a Christian and pursuing purity whilst in a world that's trying to increase media's demand on our attention spans, if that made sense, it's hard. So yeah, let's chat about it. So, coming to a finish of the holiday project, thank you so much for being here. We are going back to a more minimalist schedule, unfortunately, because I want to keep sharing my life with you guys and just, thoughts, thinking about the Bible and, I don't know, modern things, all the fun things. But yeah, I'm going back to school next week and I'm really excited, but it's also going to be a big thing. So I'm going to be managing my illness as well. So yeah, just follow along for the journey. Thanks so much if you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.